Good morning to those of you who enjoy watching my videos on surf casting and targeting large fish, stingrays. Well, first I must apologise because I'm having to dub this video because of the wave noise and the wind of the noise on a microphone. I went out and purchased for myself a proper external mic and was getting on very well with it. Well, this morning when we went to the beach, I made the most fundamental error and forgot to turn the damn thing on. In consequence, we got a many minutes of video, absolutely silent movie era, not a sound. So now I've got a microphone pinned to my chest. I'm sitting at home in my lounge and I've got to do my best to recall what I've actually caught on the camera. We've just had a visit from Cyclone Pam. Australia kindly sent it to us. They're very decent like that. And I'm looking at the changes on the beach. As you can see, there's a lot of driftwood come up on the beach. The actual place where I'm sitting, there's a very steep shelf in front of me. That's probably over 2 meters, that shelf, which I've got to step down. Anyway, I'm fishing with a brand new rod. This is the second cast, and if you look at the far rod, you'll see there's some movement there. I've had 2 takes on it, but nothing really serious, so I decided to investigate it and go over and pick the rod up. It's a brand new rod. This is only the second cast with it. It's a Daiwa rod. Feels very nice, set up with a bait runner reel. Now then, I'm waiting and waiting, but nothing's happening, so I decided it's probably a good idea to put it back on the rod rest. So I'm just putting it down on the rod rest, and bang, down it goes. Immediately raise the rod and we're set into another ray. What a lovely way to christen a new rod. Now, the way this fish took off, I immediately thought it was quite a large eagle ray. It was moving around very freely in the water. As a matter of fact, it picked up the line off the other rod, which is always annoying. Biggest problem with fishing with 2 rods. But anyway, as you can see, I'm pointing at the spool on the reel. It's flying round as it's taking line off the reel, which is what made me think it's an eagle ray. It was a very active fish. It wasn't until round about now it came up on the surface a couple of times. I'm pointing it out to my wife and encouraging her to pan round and look at the surface, and you should be able to see where it breaks the surface and actually gives a nice rise, rather like a trout. By now I'm absolutely thrilled with this rod. It's handling the fish very well indeed. The reason I bought another rod was, as any of you that were familiar with my early videos would know, I used to use a white rod, and on a bright sunny day like it is here, I could not see the damn thing. My eyesight's not as good as it used to be. Well, you don't expect it to be at my age, but I was really having trouble looking at that white rod. This dark rod's different kettle of fish altogether, no trouble. Now then, I now go down. The gaff, as you can see, this is an absolute nuisance. It's a long gaff and I'm forever trying to find a comfortable way to carry it. In the following video you will see I've actually attached the gaff to a lanyard, about 1 meter of white nylon cord, and I've attached it to a carabiner, and the moment I hook a large fish I now hook the gaff onto my belt, which is a really good way of doing it. So now I can walk along the beach. I haven't got to carry the gaff. It follows me like a dog on a lead. It rattles a bit on the following video, but it's there. Whenever I need it, it's in my hand immediately, and I haven't got to keep tucking it under my arm or across my chest. It's a damn nuisance. Now, it's at this stage where it's occurred to me, I'm not hooked into an eagle ray at all. This is a stingray, and out of all of the stingrays I've caught, and my word, they do add up to a few, this one was really unhappy about the whole proceedings. Later on in the fight, you'll actually see it keeps thrashing its tail around. I think it was, there it goes, it's actually hoping that I might get close enough to me that it can cotton on to me, but as you know, I believe in steering well clear of them. You see, it's on the surface, its wings are working well, trying to regain the deeper water, but the rod's taking the pressure quite well. It's only a 12'6" rod. I would have preferred one of, no, it's 14-foot rod, beg your pardon. I would have preferred one with that extra few inches, but this was on special. It had 25% off because the shop's closing down, and I wasn't going to walk past a Daiwa rod at the price which I got it for. But as you can see, this fish, I've got it in the breakers, so I've got the worst part over with. All I've got to do is wait for the right wave to get it in close enough to me. If you watch it closely, you'll see its tail keep coming up out the water. I think he's on the hunt for me. He's flapping around, flapping around. Now we've got to go along the beach a little bit further. I'll follow the fish. He's in the, well, we call it white water, but it's more foam than breakers. Now he knows he's getting closer to shore, and he's not exactly happy about it. Here we go. I'll get him sideways on and put side strain on him. See the tail come out? He doesn't even give up when I put him back. You'll see that in a couple of minutes' time. Anyway, he's now coming in within reach of the gaff. There is a tail out the water again. There, he's really after me. So I'll now walk into the water. You can see his tail is well over his back. He's not happy at all. So I'll get the gaff ready and hopefully pick a spot where I can do the least amount of damage. And I must admit I was quite lucky. I caught him just at the top of the tail where the tail joins the fish, and it's in the bony part of his back. So the gaff didn't really do any damage. It was well away from the gut cavity. It wasn't going to do any damage to its internal workings. Anyway, we're getting it closer, a little bit more pressure. Look at that tail. I'm bloody sure he could have climbed out the water and had a go at me if he'd have known how. Anyway, we've now got the gaff ready, nearly. Walk along the beach, more strain. Especially side strain. That's it, he's actually got his belly on the stones now. That helps. One dig in the back, and there he is. He's on the beach. Always a relief. I'll just get him up on the stone. You can see his tail still up in the air. Not impressed at all. Nice looking ray, although personally I think stingrays are quite ugly fish. Good to catch. My wife will now pan in with the camera. I'll walk up and get a nice picture of it. Yeah, it's quite a nice fish. Certainly a very active one. Now here I queried on an earlier video, I wanted the chance to actually weigh fish. So what I've done, I've got a garden trimmings bag. It's a large bag that's marketed just to put your garden clippings in. So we picked it up, put it on we've just strung the gaff between our shoulders, put it on the scales, and as you could see it was varying between 23.5 and 25 pounds, so you can put your own idea of the weight on that. Now he's still not a happy chappy because he didn't want to come out the bag now, but we finally get him up, get rid of the bag, just use the gaff, put it under the far wing and turn him over. Now that didn't dig into the flesh. There you see his nose up, he's really not happy. He's arching his tail, look, he's really not happy at all. I'm sure if he had his way he'd turn around and come back at me. Anyway, we'll now ease him, just using the shank of the gaff, put it up his rear end, if you'll pardon the expression, give him a push and away he goes. Now all I ever show you, you must be thinking, doesn't he ever catch anything else apart from rays? Well, this turned out to be a funny day. Later on in the session, as you see, I'm still using 2 rods, and now I'm on to my favourite rod. This is a 15-foot Okuma rod, and I love this rod. It's got a beautiful action, it's lovely and soft, and it does so well. Just hold it, I've had a take once or twice, hold it, yes, there it is, it's just taken, so there you are, we're on to another fish. It obviously isn't a ray, but that didn't really matter too much. So at least I know I've got something different. I'm telling my wife this isn't a ray. It's coming in quite easily, it's got a bend on the rod. So I walked down the beach just in case. Well, I knew it was a fish, I knew it wasn't a ray, so I walked down the beach just to make sure if it does come off in the shallow water, I'm still in with a chance of getting it. Right, it's coming close, and it's one of my slippery friends, a nice eel, and this is a nice fish too. I know lots of people don't like catching eels, but I've got no objections, and they're very, very nice eating. People that turn around and say they don't like eating a certain fish, somebody once told me that's a sign that they don't know how to cook them properly. I'll leave you to decide whether that's right or not, but there you are, you've got a lovely eel there, beautiful silver sea eel, lovely white flesh on it, couldn't be better. So that's gone in the bucket. My wife is all smiles now because she loves eating them, has her own way of cooking. Now I'm now down to one rod. We decided to pack up and go home, so I packed up one rod, just seeing the last cast out, and thump, the rod's gone over. So we hold it, wondering what it is. Bang, yes, that's gone solid. So we wind in something else. So I actually knew what this fish was immediately. The fish jumped out the water, and to any New Zealand angler, you immediately know what that is. It's a small kahawai. Now, this fish here is considered they call it the people's fish. They grow a lot bigger than this. This really is a tiny specimen. Ideal live bait if you're fishing for kingfish. They make ideal bait if you scale them, especially if you're fishing on the bottom. But equally, little tiny fish like this really make good eating. Just knock the fillets off, skin them, throw them straight in the fry pan with a bit of flour. If you would really want to go the whole hog, egg, flour and breadcrumbs, beautiful. But anyway, my wife says, you caught a fish, have another cast. So out went the rod for the second time. All I'm thinking of doing is going home. Well, it hadn't been there a minute, off it goes again. And again, immediately I knew what the fish was. It's another kahawai. So never turn down any bait fish, and as we're going to eat them, I'm certainly not going to turn this one down. Well, when we get it in, this one's just a little bit bigger. It's still a very small fish. They grow up to 6 or 7 kilograms, and you really would have a fight on your hands. These are a real true sports fish. Like a 2 kilogram fish will really give you a hard fight, and they'll jump all over the place just like a trout or a salmon. Now we'll hold this one up. You can see it's a really streamlined fish. My wife pans in close. It's a lovely fish. We call them kahawai. Our Australian cousins call them salmon. Well, there you are. Can we do it? 3 fish in 3 casts. My wife insisted that I had a last try to try and get the hat trick. Well, I didn't even get a chance to put the rod in the rod rest. The bait hit the water, it slammed down, hooked into it, and in comes number 3. So what more could you want? A really nice day on the beach. Glorious morning, as you can see, for early autumn. We're still having really, really good weather. Matter of fact, I was extremely hot. I ended up getting sunburnt this morning. So we ended up with christening a new rod with a 25-pound ray. We got a beautiful eel and 3 nice little kahawai. And I don't mind telling you, they were absolutely delicious.